A couple of things that jump off the stat page tonight.
Yes.
Nets, 72 points off the bench. Knicks season low in boards with 33. They're out rebounded 59 to 33 tonight.
Yeah, that bothers me, but it bothers me to lose to the Nets. It really does. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because Kenny Atkinson and I used to go at it back in the St. Mary's gym in the summers when we were both
Could you at least stop him? You couldn't stop him either. I don't think that.
Killing me tonight.
Well, Alan's not here, so someone's got to step
not here, so Bill's like, I got him.
No, but the first half, the Knicks looked really good. I thought Frank had a good contribution starting at point guard. I think we saw tonight the absence of Moutier, how much it affects this team. Trey Burke came in and played great. He was ready. That was a positive. That was really good to see. But no Canner. You get smoked by 26 on the boards. It's tough to win. And this Nets team, you can see why they're sixth in the East and knocking on a playoff berth.
Yeah, and it was really funny for me and glaring within the stats is that the Nets had turnovers and there were opportunities for the Knicks to capitalize, and they weren't able to do that. The Nets were actually plus 20 when it comes to capitalizing off of turnovers. I mean, that to me just shows kind of making offense in other areas when your top guys like D'Angelo Russell was struggling early. They were just finding ways to score and eventually win the game.
Nets have a ton of depth, and it was really evident tonight.
Oh, yeah.
For the Knicks, headlines, Vonleh and Burke, and you got to credit Burke. He hasn't played in 2 weeks. He gets some minutes tonight because Moutier is out. He plays 33 minutes, and Wally goes for 25 points. How is he able to stay fresh? Obviously had the knee injury, was a little bit rusty,
yeah.
But he hasn't played in 2 weeks.
I think it's a credit to the coaching staff. This coaching staff is great with player development. They always keep guys ready. They always work guys out, on off days and during shoot-arounds and stuff. But listen, Trey Burke is a veteran on this team. He's got experience. He's high draft pick, so he's got a lot to play for and a lot of motivation. And when he got on the court, he just got buckets, and that's what he does, Swin. He's known for putting it in the basket, and he did that tonight.
Yeah, and we know that from Trey Burke. You know you're going to get the offensive side. I think the next step in his development is going to be showing defensively, is he capable of putting more pressure on the ball and keeping guys in front of him, because that's going to get you more minutes on the court. Offensively, he's a threat out there on the floor. You can see they came with multitude of different players trying to defend him, but he was 10 for 19 from the floor, and then he gives you those 5 assists. I mean, he was doing what they needed offensively. It just really came down to defensively. They were taking advantage of him, especially on the low block. You could see them doing a couple of switches and getting him down low or making him have to defend at the free throw line, and not much he can do with their wall.
Swin, how does he compensate? He's not that tall. And if that's the thing that's holding him back on the defensive end, how do you compensate when you just don't have the size?
Well, sometimes it's not so much the size. You have to figure out angles and how to play. Like, what are your strengths? And for one, he knows when you're smaller, you're on a low block, you're going to need some help that's coming. But there has to be a level of resistance where you're putting pressure on the ball, so guys can't pick it up as easily. You can't start defending at the three-point line. When you're smaller, you have to show other ways that you can contribute on the floor. And I just don't think that guys that are smaller, especially with his size, have shown that enough to get significant minutes in this league right now.
All right, but Burke again get the minutes because Moutier is going to be out. He was out tonight. He's going to be out at least a couple of weeks. As for Vonleh, Wally, he's been one of the bright spots all year for the Knicks. Night in and night out. You can make the case he's their most consistent player. Career high 22 points tonight and 13 rebounds.
Well, yeah, the Knicks went small, so he downshifted to the 5, and with him at the 5, that's a pretty versatile lineup. The thing is, can you rebound the basketball as a team? Because Lance Thomas starting at the 4, then you have Tim Hardaway Jr. at the 3, or Knox at the 3 and 2. You need more rebounding from some of your perimeter guys. Vonleh really pulled his weight on the boards. He did a good job. And I love the aggressiveness in the three-point line. He attempted 11 three-point shots. He was 3 for 11 from the three-point line, acted as a stretch 5 tonight, really dominated his matchup, so that was a great thing to see. But you can just see his natural position, I think, is the 4. When he's at the 4, he complements a 5 perfectly. He becomes a stretch 4. His versatility and his athleticism really complements where he is out there on the floor. It was a good matchup against the Nets. It worked in the first half, but then in the second half, the Knicks just continue to get pounded on the glass without a real center like Enes Kanter out there to really command the offensive and defensive backboard.
Yeah, I think that's the one area where we look at a young Mitchell Robinson is going to have to get better rebounding the basketball if you want to be on the floor. It's one thing to defend, but you have to be able to clean up the glass. Even if it's offensively, getting those second chance opportunities, they just didn't have them tonight. And when I look at Noah Vonleh, the one thing I can say about him, Wall, is they were leaving him open. The Nets scout, you can tell, they were forcing him to take those threes. The next progression in his playing career is going to be just stepping into that shot with confidence and taking it when it's open, because you know, as a shooter, probably even more than I do, that 1 second, that half a second you think about it, it takes you out of rhythm. So yes, he was 3 for 11 tonight, but knowing the teams are going to give him that shot down the stretch, he can get better with his percentages.
Yeah, I agree. He can be up to 5 for 11, 6 for 11. That would really help the team because that shot was there all night. He took it, but you got to be a maker.
You're talking about the rebounding for Mitchell Robinson. He had 4 boards, and for the second straight game, Enes Kanter did not play at all.